Hi, my name is Mike, and this is my Ram ProMaster City that we've named Promo. You can probably tell by all the images I have on the side here. We're using it kind of like a mobile gallery. So I'll give you a little tour. So we'll start at the back here. Got a nice comfy living situation here. These doors open right up, so you got lots of space to get in and around the back. Got a slide out little table here and storage. So this functions as a bit of an outdoor kitchen. Put a jet boil on here, do our cooking back here. Bring your little chair in, good height for eating off of, cooking. Got all of our water storage in here. Countertop for interior cooking. And as you can see, we got our dog here. This is JD. Have to introduce her. And then couch mode at the moment, and then this just slides out. I don't want to squish the dog, but this will be the bed. I'm not going to pull that out right now, and it just hooks onto here. I can head inside and show you a few more of the features. So we got a little sink here. Let's pull this guy out. Faucet comes around. Water tap here. Cleaning off dishes. And this also comes out and becomes a shower head outside. So pretty practical, very compact. We've got some tees up here, a bunch of different tees. This is all magnetic. Overhead storage is usually, right now everything's cleaned out because we're in the process of actually selling the van. But put all of our dry goods up here, lighter stuff. Lighting was something key that I really wanted to incorporate in here. So we've got flush mount lighting strip underneath, illuminate the counter area, and then we got the puck lights or pot lights in the ceiling, and then also have some additional lights in the roof vent as well. I live in my van part-time. I do have a home, but I spend a good amount of time on the road living out of this van. For my career being a landscape photographer. I prefer to just, have it loose, spontaneous. If I come across a scene that I, really like, I'll shoot it. But on occasion, I'm pre-visualizing something that I want to capture. And there's a lot of elements that have to come together, whether it be light, ideally if it's a shot that involves reflections, you don't want any wind. So one of these types of shots I really had my eye on. It was up in the Rockies. It was a winter scene at Emerald Lake, and I needed all these factors to come together. I needed the moon, I needed the clouds to part, I needed no wind, I wanted stars in the scene, I wanted untracked snow. And I got to this particular location and it was all socked in. And I was a little bit bummed, but I knew I had a few nights there, so I could wait for this to all come together. What this vehicle allows us to do is to camp on scene. You can stay, if need be, multiple days at a particular location. I have everything I need here. I have my cooking equipment. It's warm, it's insulated. So that's why I live out of my van. So moving over to the other side here, wanted to do something fairly unique. So incorporated one of my art prints recessed into the wall. So this van is partially for promotion and also being on the road, camping, doing photography. Wanted to showcase one of my favorite prints and one of my most popular ones. So this is actually an aluminum print, and we did a cutout in the wall. So this is actually built out a bit with this wall material, created an actual frame, which is removable, and then also have recessed lighting in here, so add some illumination to the print. And this is actually a scene from the west coast of Vancouver Island near Ucluelet. So kind of a unique feature. And then it's meant to also kind of look like a window. So obviously this van has no windows on either side, so it gives you a little bit of a view out the side. So usually my mode when I'm in here, I've finished cooking on the kitchen and everything, I'll sit back, relax here, I can do a bit of reading. Have these adjustable reading lights here. They also have a red feature which improves your night vision. but they'll adjust, sit here, read. This is kind of my go-to spot for just kicking back and relaxing. And then you can do it on either end. We got one more over here. So a lot of times on our road trips, it would be myself and my daughter a lot of times, and we'd go opposite ways. So she'd be down on that end reading, I'd be over here reading, and then we got the dog space right here. So it's, for 2 people and a dog, it's plenty good, just enough space. I'm 5'11", and if I'm sitting back, this chair actually reclines back, so usually I'd have this back a bit. This is pretty comfortable. I'm not having to slouch or anything. And then you got all of these lights are on dimmers too, so if you're finding it a little bit too intense, you can just turn it down a bit. Back to the kitchen side, forgot to mention, this flips up. I'm not sure if you're able to see that, but we'd have a storage piece, our burner, and some of our cooking utensils pull out here, and then you got access to the fridge here. So, and then this is just on Velcro to hold it up. And that works as a freezer as well. So pretty nice access. Pretty simple design. Show you a couple more little features here. This is the drawer for cutlery. And then also have additional storage space here. We were thinking a lot of times we put a garbage can in there. Some additional stuff. And as I mentioned, underneath here, I'm sure I can get at this right now. This is a large storage area, and this is usually where I'd keep all my camera equipment. Pull this guy up. And this is just a bar to hold it up. But when I'm taking my laptop and stuff that's hard drives, this was a really nice feature. Got a lockable storage area here. All the electronics are down here, charge controller, etc. And then another additional spot over here for storage. And usually we put our chairs in there. And then obviously this is the cushion. So once this all comes out, it latches into here. And then you got a decent sized bed. I think it's about either 74 or 78 inches long, so plenty of length. A little tight on the width, but not bad for 2 people. Usually we'll sleep, I'll have my head here. Either my girlfriend or my daughter will have her head down on that end. And then the dog stays here, or we also made a platform for her up front so she can sleep on the passenger seat. So there's definitely pros and cons to van life. I think there's definitely more pros for sure. For me, the van functions as recreation, but it's also, I look at it as a tool for my business, which is landscape photography. And the big pro to this is it gives me a home away from home that I can live out of for a long period of time, and be comfortable. And if I need to set up at a particular location for a while, I can do that. I have everything that I need. Obviously a con of something smaller like this is I don't have a full functional washroom. I do have a hose that can come out. I can have a quick shower. I had a little, basically like a bucket with disposable bags for my toilet, if need be. So to me, I didn't find a lot of challenges with this lifestyle. I found it, I've been doing van life before van life was a thing. I had a Sprinter van that I bought back in, I think, 2003. And I'd been living out of that for quite a long time. Off and on, I've always had a home, so I always have a home base to go to. But I think overall, definitely more pros than cons for this lifestyle. This is kind of where we cook when we're inside. So we got a little bit of height here for the burner to make sure that's safe. And then all of the cleaning with the sink over in here. Remove the piece for the sink. And then as far as bedding, when we got to tuck that away, we got a nice space above the cab right here. So everything, we usually use a big down comforter that fits and tucks into here. And then when we go into sleep mode at night, we got a curtain that just comes down and gives us a bit of privacy here. This van actually works really good for the stealth factor with it looking a little bit like a commercial van with all of the artwork on it. This all will tuck down nice and neat, obviously, when we're doing it properly. We got magnets over here, here, and then this actually will come down and completely block out all the light from escaping out to the cab. So it looks like no one's in here. Pop that back up. So overall, with the design, kind of going for a bit of a Scandinavian design. So keeping the wood all natural. We've got the linear slats here. A bit of a darker wood for contrast for the frame, and then kind of a matching tone for the wood for the countertop. And then repeated that with a bit of wood down here, which is also the base for the bed as it slides out. And then with a dark flooring, just so it didn't show up too much dirt. So yeah, and then we did do a light colored backsplash as well. So that looks nice with the countertop. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Like I said, it's a really cozy space for two. That's about as much as you want, and a dog. And she seems to enjoy it as well, but she does a lot of sleeping, so. I recommend this lifestyle to anybody that their recreation is outdoors based, whether you're a climber, photographer, even videographer, where you're doing a lot of traveling around. From the standpoint of, just even saving money. You've got your home with you. You're just like a turtle. You're not having to pay for expensive accommodations. So yeah, and like I said, anybody that's doing a lot of outdoor recreation, even like surfing. I've got racks up there, so I'll do the odd surf trip, paddleboard surfing, that type of thing. For power, we got a 100 watt Go Power solar panel. It's a flexible panel, so very low profile. You don't even know it's there. So that's mounted right towards the back here. And then I'll show you where the secondary battery is. It's kind of a really nice install. So it's tucked right underneath the driver's seat there. You can have a peek in there. So it's one of the only batteries that would fit there, but it fit perfectly, just enough space. And then the charge controller, it's a Renogy charge controller, and that's underneath the bench seat back there again. And that's an MPPT charge controller, and that is a smart controller, so it just basically takes care of your incoming solar as well as charging from the alternator, and make sure you're not overcharging, and keeps things topped up. So it's really slick system. You just set it up and you can just forget about it. I think I've learned a few things about myself over the years with being exposed to this lifestyle. Definitely realize I'm pretty adaptable. I think I prefer being on the road versus at home. And I really enjoy meeting people. It's so nice to hear other people's stories with all the traveling you're doing in different places. So it's a great lifestyle. So as I mentioned, this vehicle's got multiple purposes. It's meant to function as a recreational vehicle, sort of a work tool for my company. I'm a landscape photographer, and then also kind of promote my work at the same time. So as you can see, I've decorated it with some of my artwork, and it's just kind of like a conversation piece, let people know what I do. And the other benefit to doing this, it kind of allows the vehicle to be a bit more stealthy, because it looks more like a commercial vehicle if you're, say, camping in a place like a trailhead or something like that. So it just allowed it to sort of blend in and not look like I'm necessarily camping. So I do mainly forest photography. That's my primary focus, but I want to showcase all the different type of art pieces that I'll create. And this is a shot that I took in Gastown. It was a rainy November night. You got a lot of the reflections on the pavement, and then there was one light in the top floor, and I thought it'd be cool to incorporate a red umbrella. So that's actually my girlfriend in the shot modeling with her red umbrella. But there's lots of neat little details when you get into the scene. Everything I shoot is very high res. So shot with a a Nikon D850, so lots of resolution there, so you can get into all the finer details. And then this is kind of transitioning in more of what my specialty is more landscape and forest imagery, whether it be forest or trees. This is one of my favorite scenes. This is on Vancouver Island. This is a shot called Perseverance. So also added these little magnetic pieces, a little bit dirty behind there. But if people come up and they want to know about the shot, they can read here, and then there's also a QR code. So this is a very famous little tree out near Port Renfrew on Vancouver Island. So ended up getting really nice conditions here, had some fog roll in, some nice side lights that came in, illuminated this little tree a bit, as well as the forest here. So we got artwork wrapping right around the vehicle, and this is one more piece here. This is called, titled Call of the Wild, and printed this using a perforated vinyl. So it actually allows for a bit of privacy for the interior, but still allows us to have sight lines out. This particular scene I shot up in Whistler, quite high up in the mountains in the Callahan Valley, or no, Brandywine area, and was camping up there and just sitting around the campfire, and then I noticed this off in the distance, and it was the moonrise, and it was just coming up behind these trees and creating this silhouette, and then almost perfectly on center was this, I think they call it a snag, right in the middle, and literally sprinted to grab my camera gear, caught it just in the nick of time, because obviously that's transitioning as the moon is rising, and then the print just kind of fades out to black where there's no light on either side. But just thought that was a really pretty scene. So yeah, and I just like this is kind of doing double duty. You know, it's a conversation piece again with the artwork all around the van, but also adding privacy for the interior here. I think what got me interested in this lifestyle is when I really started taking my photography seriously and realized a van or any vehicle to live out of could be a real asset. So decided to build this van completely custom for photography and marketing my business. So everything was designed around that purpose, and thinks that it's really accomplished that. A couple more pieces I'll show you here. This is a scene shot out in Chilliwack Lake area. Came across what was probably a large cedar tree. It had fallen down and it just deteriorated over the years. Created kind of like a sculptural element, and just loved the look of it. Challenge was when I was shooting this though, there were heavy winds. So this one was a little bit more technical to put together as far as the processing. But what I did is I shot two different shots. One is a long exposure, and then one at a very fast shutter speed to freeze all of the detail in the foliage. And then obviously the slow shutter speed was to smooth out all of the water, and then converted it to black and white. So this one's called Majestic Spirit. Got the little magnetic piece here again, as well as the QR code. And then what I've done with all of this vinyl wrapping around here is I do this in two pieces. So if I ever want to change out this print, I can remove this independently from the vinyl, which is creating a bit of a frame around it. And then obviously these are just magnetic, so can peel those off. And then the last one here is the same tree that you saw on the other side. This print is called Nurture. And what was unique about this situation is it was a complete whiteout, just total fog in the background, and that isolated the subject of the little tree in the lake. So this tree is actually growing on a stump, and apparently it's been growing there for between 20 to 30 years. So this print's called Nurture, and I think as far as a black and white piece, it almost looks like a pencil sketch, just the way it comes out in black and white. So this particular subject, or this tree, is kind of near and dear to me. I've shot this scene many times from different vantage points, different angles, heights, etc. So as I was mentioning, this tree is growing on a stump right in the middle of Fairy Lake, which is right in the heart of the Fairy Creek watershed area where the Fairy Creek protests were going on to help protect the last remaining watershed, which is the Fairy Creek watershed on Vancouver Island, which is threatened to be logged. So it's one of the last intact ecosystems on Vancouver Island that has had no logging in it whatsoever. So one of my main goals with my photography is to raise awareness of these last ancient forests, and with some of my imagery, hopefully do my little bit to protect them. I've auctioned off quite a few of my prints over the years, and that's raised money for the Rainforest Flying Squad, for the Legal Defense Fund, as well as I've done many trips out to the actual protest, delivering materials, any goods that they need, especially when it comes closer to the winter months, when they're getting into those colder months and it's getting a little bit challenging to maintain a site there. So brought out whatever things they've needed to be able to stick it out for the long haul. As this protest has gone on for a couple years, the enforcement really ramped up towards the end, and you see just anything from helicopters to tactical vehicles, plainclothes officers. So now there's very little protesting at the Fairy Creek watershed, but they are still actively trying to protect this last forest. And there's very few left on Vancouver Island. So on a positive note, the deferral for the Fairy Creek watershed has been extended. So as of now, it is still somewhat protected. It will not be logged until that deferral potentially runs out, until it gets full protection. So if this is something that's important to you, or if you like forests, highly recommend getting over to Vancouver Island. In that same area, there's a few old growth forests that you can actually get through. There's one called Avatar Grove, there's Eden Grove, and it's very impactful to walk through an old growth forest. You can really see why so many people are passionate about protecting these places. They're literally ancient ecosystems that are irreplaceable. And that's why I like to photograph them too, because it's just an amazing experience to be walking around some of the oldest living trees that are left on this planet, and just how that makes you feel to be amongst massive old growth cedar trees, Douglas firs, Sitka spruce. It's a really enjoyable environment to be in. My personal philosophy on life is to get out there, live your life. Don't wait for conditions to align to do what you want to do. Find your passion, go after it. You know, life is short. You can't wait around until what you perceive is things aligning for the right time to go out after what you want. Just go for it now, make it happen. And like I said, find something you're very passionate about. And if you could parlay that passion into making a difference for a cause that you really believe in. In my case, I love forests, I want to protect them. So I'm trying to use my imagery to raise awareness about old growth forests, share my love for them, and try and protect them. We don't have much left. So, you know, I'm not against logging. There's plenty of forests, you know, second growth forests, third growth. We have abundance of that, but we'll never have old growth forests again. So want to make sure that we can share what's left and protect them. I don't do much of the social media anymore, but I have my website pretty much always up to date. So all my latest work is on there. Some of the last stuff that I shot was down in the Redwoods. So all that work's up there. And the website is michaelbjorgefineart.com, Bjorge, B-J-O-R-G-E. And I'm always, as I create new work, it's usually getting up on my website pretty quickly. So feel free to check it out. So this van is up for sale now. If you're interested, you can go to my website. It's michaelbjorgefineart.com, and you can just email me through the contact page. So that's B-J-O-R-G-E. So yeah, if you're at all interested, got a good tour here, some of the details, but feel free to email me any more questions you might have.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. Also, if you want to watch more alternative dwellings, we got a playlist popping up right here, and we release new episodes every single Sunday, so consider subscribing.